All right, let's jump right into Mark chapter 9. This chapter is, wow, it is all about dramatic contrasts. I mean, 1 minute you're on this glorious mountaintop, and the very next you're down in a chaotic, messy valley. It's intense, it's powerful, and honestly, it looks a whole lot like our own lives.
I mean, seriously, think about it. We all have those incredible highs, right? Those mountaintop moments where everything feels crystal clear, everything makes sense. And then sometimes, just a few hours later, bam, we're in a valley of confusion or struggle or just desperation. Well, Mark 9 captures that exact feeling and actually gives us a roadmap for navigating both.
So the whole thing kicks off with a literal mountaintop experience. Jesus grabs his inner circle, Peter, James, and John, and takes them up a high mountain. And what they're about to witness is going to change everything for them.
This moment is called the Transfiguration. All of a sudden, the divine glory that Jesus usually kept veiled is just unleashed. And you can almost feel Mark, the writer, struggling to find the words. He says Jesus' clothes were so intensely white that, well, nothing on earth could possibly compare. It's this incredible, otherworldly peek at who Jesus really is.
And then, get this, two other figures just appear out of nowhere, Moses and Elijah. I mean, these are the heavy hitters of the Old Testament. Moses, he represents the law, the very foundation of Israel. And Elijah, he represents the prophets, the ones who are always calling people back to God. Having them both show up here is this huge, symbolic moment. It's like the entire Old Testament story. All the laws and all the prophecies are standing right there, pointing directly at Jesus.
And just when you think it can't get any more epic, a cloud rolls in and a voice, the voice of God the Father, booms out. And what he says is the ultimate endorsement. "This is my son. Listen to him." It's just wow. God himself is declaring that Jesus' authority is even greater than the law and the prophets. The new game plan is simple. Listen to Jesus.
So you have to ask, why did this happen? It wasn't just some divine light show. See, Jesus knew what was coming. He knew the betrayal, the suffering, and the crucifixion were just around the corner. This mountaintop vision was like a spiritual anchor for their faith. It was a preview of his ultimate glory to help them hold on through the dark valley that was coming.
And this is where the chapter does a complete 180. Because as they come down from this unbelievable spiritual high, they walk right into a scene of absolute, total chaos. I mean, just picture the whiplash. They are literally walking down from the highest of highs,
And they find the other 9 disciples at the bottom, arguing with religious leaders, totally powerless and completely failing to help a man who is in desperate need. The contrast is just jarring, and it's meant to be. It makes us ask, what happens when our mountaintop faith has to face a real-world, valley-level crisis?
So here's the situation they walk into. A distraught father brings his son, who's been suffering terribly, to Jesus' disciples. He probably saw them do miracles before, so he comes to them for help. But this time, nothing. They can't do it. Their failure turns into this public spectacle, and the poor father is just left there, totally desperate.
When the father finally gets to Jesus, his desperation is palpable. And then he cries out what might just be one of the most honest and relatable prayers in the entire Bible. "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief." He isn't pretending to have it all together. He is admitting right then and there that his heart is a mix of faith and doubt, and he's begging for help right in the middle of that mess. It's so raw and so incredibly real.
So Jesus, of course, heals the boy in an instant. But the story's not over, not by a long shot, because now comes the lesson for the disciples and definitely for us.
Later, when they're alone, you can just picture the disciples, kind of shuffling their feet, feeling embarrassed and confused, and they ask Jesus the question that's burning them up. Why couldn't we do it? Why did we fail? They had the authority, they'd done it before, so what went wrong this time?
And Jesus' answer gets right to the heart of the matter. He tells them this kind can come out by nothing but prayer. Now, he's not giving them a magic formula, he's diagnosing a spiritual condition. See, somewhere along the way, the disciples had stopped relying on God's power and started coasting on their own ability and their past successes. They become prayerless. Jesus is teaching them that prayer isn't just a technique, it's a posture. It's an attitude of complete and total dependence on God.
And this whole experience in the valley seems to have revealed a deeper problem. Because, and you're not going to believe this, right after they fail because of their lack of dependence on God, what do we find them doing? Arguing about which one of them is the greatest. It just shows they're still completely missing the point about Jesus' kingdom.
So Jesus has to sit them down again.
He explains that the world's idea of greatness is all about power and status and being number one. But in God's kingdom, it's completely upside down. Jesus says if you want to be first, you have to choose to be last and to be the servant of everyone. Real greatness isn't found in promoting yourself, but in humbling yourself to serve.
And to really drive this point home, he does something so simple and powerful. He takes a little child, someone with literally zero social status in that culture, and he puts them right in the middle of the group. He then says that if you welcome and care for a child like this, you're welcoming him. And if you welcome him, you're welcoming God the Father. It's this beautiful, tender image that just shatters our ideas of what's important.
The chapter wraps up with some of Jesus' most severe warnings. Right after talking about welcoming the powerless, he pivots to the extreme danger of causing one of these little ones to lose their faith.
Jesus uses this shocking language. He says if your hand or your eye causes you to sin, you should cut it off. Now, he's obviously not being literal. He's using extreme language to make an extremely urgent point. We have to be absolutely ruthless about getting sin out of our own lives and getting rid of anything in our behavior that could trip up another believer. Your relationship with God, he's saying, is worth any sacrifice.
He finishes with this really cool metaphor. Have salt in yourselves. Now, back then, salt was a preservative. It stopped decay. It also added flavor and made things distinct. So for us, being salty means we're supposed to be a purifying, positive influence in the world around us. We're meant to preserve what's good and bring the unique flavor of God's kingdom into every situation we're in.
So, that brings us all the way back to our own journey, right? We all have our mountaintops and our valleys. We all struggle with doubt and with depending on God. And we're all called to be servants who bring a positive influence. So I guess the question Mark 9 leaves us with is this. After everything, what is the salt that you bring to your world? In your highs and in your lows, what is that unique, preserving, positive influence that reflects the one you follow?